I'm a little bit in my shell. I'm going to come out of my shell. I want to just cry right now. I just want to fucking just cry on a heap on the floor. But I've got to have endurance and faith of the saints and be strong and have faith that right now that this transition that I'm going through is happening for a reason, and that events that have occurred this evening, I've got Express on to try and find something out. I want to cry. I just want to cry. I go through songs. I've listened to my 2 personal ones. This is all for you. Grab your coffee. Are you ready for this one? You're not going to fucking believe what's happened tonight. Even I can't get my head around it, so... Oh Lord, let me be paranoid and go for counselling and everything's great and the world is just fucking amazing. That would be awesome. I wish I was. Anyway. It's mental what's going on. It's fucking mental. How many people tonight have had the police knocking on their door from my door right the way through to the country in the UK? And I'm going to talk about it in a minute. I'm going to come out of my shell in a minute. This is what I'd be like at home right now. Please remember I have an autistic diagnosis on my door for high-functioning Asperger's. One is not functioning right now. One is overloaded. One is having mental breakdown. Laptop down. Anyway, I'll be with you. I will literally flick out in a minute. I go 3. This is our break. So anyway, we've had shitloads of police tonight. Oh, they're traumatising me right now. Luckily my kids are handling it all right. And thank God for my 2 angels tonight. Thank the Lord for my 2 angels tonight. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for my 2 angels. You're by my side tonight, by chance. Thank you. While I was alone in my corridor with 6 police officers and my boys traumatised, I had 2 angels by my side. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for allowing me to trust. So, well, actually, to not trust them, they came to speak to me. I need to trust them. They earned my trust. They earned my trust. Oh, anyway, hello guys, how you doing? Keep my hat on, please. So basically tonight, talk about, I don't know, I need to talk about it in order to be able to understand what the fuck is going on around me right now. And there's people around me who can see what the fuck is going on around me right now and don't think I'm mental and mad and agree with some stuff that I'm saying. I'm hoping that I'm in this transition right now for God-given reasons, and I'm hoping that there is a reason that somehow me and Dean are going to be able to try and occupy both properties. If someone can help me make sure that me and Dean can divide our two tenancies, our joint tenancy, so he can remain here and I can remain up at the new place. Not just bear with me. I feel that this is a battle that the Lord is asking me to win for a very, very different purpose, and to have some faith and trust in this. I feel that I am not to abandon this place right now and just go and leave, because it is part of a much bigger picture to what is going on in the mainframe. Or an incident did happen here on the 18th, Friday, and unfortunately I have to be very careful and sensitive to the fact that an incident could have occurred here on the 18th between Friday the 18th of September between 3 and 8 within this area. As you know, I have got so much going on at the moment. I'm dealing with a multi-agency framework, which is a fucking full-time job. Thank God I'm not dealing with, I don't know the other names for the things, but thank God I'm not dealing with drugs and alcohol sides, because I think I'd be dealing with so many more, because I do see how that goes. And thank God I'm not dealing with a church advocate. Thank God I'm not having an advocate. Thank God I haven't got adult social so far-ish, maybe-ish, maybe, poof, doing my head in, but I still got a battle with them. They're part of it. No probation, nothing like that. No doodahs. I'm not criminal. I'm just a person who is broke, literally broke, who is unstable for work. I would be unstable to go into a person's. Could you imagine me working in Tesco's and getting up in the morning, dropping my kids off at nursery, and going working in Tesco's? Seriously, without me seeing whether or not the head of the corruption Tesco's is completely corrupt, whether or not all of the sides were done, when the computer disc was coming in, and actually watching every family and watching to see whether anybody was a social worker, a foster carer, listing down the people that come in on a regular basis with lots of different children. Seriously, I don't stop. So anyway, I've taken a leap of faith, and I have decided, rather than using cash and money and a price, I have exchanged my car for all of my website stuff. I've never done this before. It has rattled my head in the basis that actually my car is now taxed and insured. It's not out of my name yet, but there is still the warrant out on my car. So we're just transferring it over. I'm having to do this in a complete fucking exchange. No cash, no receipts, no contracts. So I had a wobble tonight, and I'm like, what do you mean my car is insured in somebody else's name? Hang on a minute, blah, 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 blah. And I'm feeling pulled by housing to move here, by Dean to move into a joint tenancy, by my children who need my needs. Of course they do, and I love them, and I will always meet my kids' needs, whatever's going on. They will always understand that I'm always going to be a mum on a mission. That's without saying. It's just who I am. It's who they were born into, and it's why they'll be the boys that they will be. So, you know, don't beat me up for it. It's why they're already the boys that they are, and it's why my children are. And also tonight I got a phone call from Liam, who me and him have been talking on text. I'd like to do a lot for Liam. I've got a lot that I owe Liam. Please pray for my son, Liam. So I had a wobble, and the really weird thing was, so I go out in the evening to make sure that we've got all the things that we need, blah, 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 blah. I like to go out as well to give the boys chance to see everybody after school. Do you know what I mean? So they got chance to play and stuff like that. But for some reason, it just ended up later tonight because I was dealing with Dean on email, and I was dealing with this exchange, and I was I decided to ring John Wright, the manager here, at last minute just to see. It was actually quite funny. I turned around to him and said, I said, actually, off the record and away from everything, I said, you don't happen to actually have any personal emails of Trevor Jacobs, do you? And he went, Trevor Jacobs, the contractor Trevor Jacobs. I said, yeah. And he went, I was like, well, I said, my mum used to temp in bowl for Great Britain. I said, I used to hang around at Charrington Bowl all the time, and he used to bowl with my mum and my stepdad. I said, so he was like a surrogate uncle to me, like my godfather through that time in my life. I said, so I'm looking at where I am with what I've got to work with where I am, especially if I do, I have a feeling I am going to be here running as MP in 4 years. If this end, it won't be MP, it'll be whatever this new reform is going to be. But it won't even be a referendum, it'll be a complete restructure. But certainly within the next 4 years, 100%, because we're already heading into the last final year countdown, aren't we? So this is to stabilise for 2025, and then they're going to go for 2030. So with the fact that I'm telling you that we're potentially, England's being very quiet, very quiet. Here in Portsmouth, it's a 100% military, naval city on an end. So I see everything from where I am on my walks around. We've now got the bikes out with them all in their blacks with their masks on, covered through the night. Like I said, I see and hear everything. In fact, I can completely much connect to this entire island. I have this entire island mapped out. So while I'm standing to you right now, I just literally opened myself up to feel the complete energy, which what gives me the giggles, to this complete island here. So before people think I'm completely raving mad, I'm talking about somebody who's coming from a complex trauma because of an unlawful and unnecessary removal and forced adoption of Aaron and Faith and gagging orders of me, as well as the trauma that I've been through here with the fact that I'm still battling to stand and represent myself in my true CV, in my true business plan, and my true medical care needs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm still battling that. And now I'm battling it even more because I'm having to deal with outside influences of police that are rattling me, and I'm having to go through trauma and deal with the current situation. So it's like being in the past and the future and trying to be in the now, but in the now doesn't quite know whether it's the trauma or whether it's the current trauma, because it's not necessarily about the past trauma now, is it? It's not about Aaron and Faith. I'm not dealing with, well, I am, and I understand that, but it was I would love to turn around and say that, mine was a 100% miscarriage of justice, and it would never, ever, ever, ever happen to any other family like that. It was only because I was involved in the media and what I was doing, and this just does not happen in this system. I would love to say that. However, literally outside my window right now, I was detained by 10 police officers, my son taken off of me and thrown into the police station and then St James's for going for milk, because they wanted to question my mental health. We have to save the children, because at the moment we're under such draconian measures now that children are moved while parents are assessed. That means that under a 26-week Section 47, they're able to remove safeguard children while assessing the parents. How the fuck do you assess a parent while you're holding their child away? That trauma's already done. That damage is already done. You can't repair the trauma that they've done to me. Even if I saw Aaron and Faith were here with me now after everything that had gone, my kids would be right behind me, and boom, Aaron and Faith are dealing with this really well because they have their own thoughts and feelings to everything. I talk to my children about my mum and what I'm going through, even at this age. Of course I do, 100%. It's why Liam and I have the relationship that we do. And even though we haven't spoken for a couple of months, we've been able to have the heart-to-heart that we've been able to have. And both of us coming away laughing and being back in our thing. So I was literally, me and the boys went out, and I decided to sneak around the other side and come back the other side because I didn't want to go and like the boys see the car and stuff. I wanted to go to the shop first. So I went to the shop and everything. And then when I come out from the shop, my car was not there. And I was like, whoa, 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 what's going on? This is like moved further forward than I could have ever imagined. Blah, blah, blah. What's going down? Boom, boom, boom. So anyway, I rang and I was speaking to the person, and it was like, well, the insurance and everything's been done. I'm just waiting for you to transfer. And I was like, wow, this is moving really fast. So anyway, I then look up and there's this police wagon parked outside the front of that doodah thing. But as we were walking out, I was feeling rattled because there was two police. Elijah and Shiloh nearly wanted to go the other way, but there was two police officers walking up the side. But they had no. They were rolled up sleeves. It was fucking freezing. They had no hats on or anything like that. And I was watching this one particular copper walking around, and I was also watching all of the kids on the basketball courts. And now we got the what's considered the grey tracksuits with the black jackets, and they don't wear the hoods and they don't wear the masks. They're a different crew. Um, so um, I was watching the way that the basketball was quickly filtering, and I hadn't seen any interaction from the police to the kids, so I didn't know whether it was a separation of the six or whatever. But what was really strange, I am somebody when I was where David Cameron was living in Whitney, and they moved in the military police, I knew straight away by the stance that they'd moved the military police in. And I said to one of the police officers, I said, are you military police? He said, yeah, how did you know? I said, because you stand differently. Well, when they were walking and they were walking down the sides there, they had their hands in their pockets. They were walking with their hands in their pockets. Not the female one wasn't. It was this male one. He had his hands in his pockets while walking. And I thought, okay, he's walking, do, 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 do. And then he had a clipboard. Not a clipboard, he had some paper. No, she then handed him some sheets of paper. So I don't know whether or not he'd been talking to the kids. I didn't see any of that. But I was attracted to his hair, because for a police officer or somebody of the state, it wasn't this typical short back and sides. It was actually quite funky. It was quite colourful and things like that. And I'm thinking, a police officer with colourful hair? I've never seen this before. It was like bleached blonde with pink or something in it, I think. So anyway, they don't go off down the side or to any of the properties around there. They then proceed and they come back round. So for those who watch my lives, you'll know the basketball court in the park. So me and the boys are going up the side, and they're coming past me, and I'm deciding I'm going to be the fierce, stern mum, because I've got kids that are wanting to go on the park. I'm trying to tell them that we're going through to the shop, and that is it. They're sort of telling me they're wanting to go on the park. I do not want to go on the park. I've told the boys we will go on the park on the way back before we come in, and we were sticking to it. And I've got coppers passing me, and I'm getting agitated and anxious because I need to discipline my children and reprimand the fact that there was boundaries and we are enforcing them. So I completely locked out from these two police officers. I didn't engage in them, didn't see them. I allowed them to completely go past me, and I dealt only with my children, and I just allowed for them to completely disappear. I didn't allow for them to come back into my vision until I was checking whether they bypassed and went past the kids. They were all what would be considered Black Lives Matter kids, of every different probably form, but there was a congregation of probably about 20 kids. And they were all trying to get off the basketball court really quickly. So I don't know whether they had come back round. So anyway, being there's such, okay, the police officers would, if they were doing an investigation, would want to speak to such a large crowd, blah, 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 managed to disperse it anyway, do, job done. So anyway, I was sort of watching over my shoulder and allowing the focal vision to come in just to hone in on the police officer. And again, I was attracted to his hair, and I was attracted to his stance, which was very different. And the female police officer was very, she didn't have that, lesbian butch, I've been trained by the military stance about her. She had that, I'm a good duder who thought she was going to be a good duder, and I can go, hey, yeah! It was them, that sort of flimsy thing. So anyway, I then saw them go to leave, and then they sort of come back, and I decided that I wanted to come out of it. But as yeah, yeah. So that's as I'm going to the shop. So anyway, I go off to the shop, go into the shop, come back. Then my car's not there. Then I see that there's a police wagon parked outside the flats up the top there. So then I have this issue where I'm on the phone sorting out what's going on with the car, and then I'm panicking, thinking I'm getting stitched up, blah blah blah. I'm going to get fucked over. Do. I need a car on the road by Monday. I needed either the car on the road with the tax and insurance to save it, or I needed. Um, it's all the parking tickets that's doing it though, so I need this injunction, and because of the points that the courts have put on me, that means that my insurance would have been something like £200 a month, and the first up thing would have been like 250. So it's all been done and stuff just to save the car basically at the moment, and they're paying for it. They're not asking me to do it. They're paying for it. They're not even using the car. They believe they're helping me out, and I'm thinking why. My conversation even got to the point. Look, it was like, look, I pay my way, mate. You know, I don't give blowjobs. I don't sleep with people. I don't do favors. I don't have this and I don't have that. That's how much I was. So anyway, it sort of ended in the conversation with me going, fuck's sake, no wonder this is why I get suicidal, boom, 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 you know. So anyway, I decided to ring my son, and I had a conversation with my son, and my son basically said, just look, say to them, you're not happy with everything that's going on, then bring the car back, and if not, ring the police. Me? Ring the police? Really? Seriously? I don't ring the police for nobody. I will, you know, okay, maybe I would. Maybe if somebody was out there stabbing and I'd ring and I'd say it was anonymous and I'd be out the window, and I don't want police coming to my door. It's as simple as that. Unless I can beat 24 fucking police officers off and get out of there with my kids. No police officers coming around me, no. When I had just Aaron and Faith to fight for, it was different. I'd have killed a police officer. Now I've got to protect Aaron and Faith, Elijah and Shiloh. It's different because I can't shoot a police officer, and it's like, you know, I've just got to be like, even yesterday when the two police officers turned up, I just sat down on the floor at my door just to say, like, look, I'm not kicking off, I'm not prowling, I'm not going to get angry. I just literally, and I didn't even bow down to knee or anything like that. I just literally just dropped down to the floor, sat down on the floor. I even had to adjust my skirt because I realised there was a little bit exposed, pulled it down, made sure he knew that it was inserted, bump. And I just sort of sat there cross-legged with my hands and let my children roam with two police officers. And I had already on my live asked them to move back to the door. Now anyway, all of a sudden my phone starts going fucking haywire, and I'm going, oh, I don't fucking believe it. He's fucked me over with my phone again. I've now got another phone doing this system fucking upgrade that's bollocks my phone. Here we go again. Charger's gonna fucking blow. And my phone's going doolally, like literally it's going, and then I'm trying to text him in quite an angry, aggressive way with like, fuck's sake, now my fucking phone. It's not letting me text, it's not letting me move, it's writing names. Then all of a sudden I'm trying to write, what was it? I'm trying to write, fuck's sake, now my phone's dead, phone's playing up. And all of a sudden it changes over messages, and it starts going and then sends, and I go, oh shit, and I'm trying to watch my phone, it's going, I can't do anything. I'm trying to turn it off, it's not letting me do anything. I'm trying to get the voice thing to turn it off, it's not doing anything. I'm going, oh my goodness, I can't be doing with this. And then literally as I sort of stepping back and I'm looking, there's another police vehicle, it's out the back of mine. So then I'm getting higher anxiety, and I'm feeling more and more and more. My kids are on the park, I'm feeling a little bit like doodah. And then this black man comes out the way of nowhere, and he's got a mask across his face, and he stood up on the hill in the park. And he is looking over at me, and he's got his hands in his pants, and he's looking at me, and I'm going, I'm not quite happy with this situation. So anyway, I then get, my phone just completely stops. And then I get this text come through, and it's just, look, the car's outside Domino's, you know, she'll come and look after the kids while you move it back over to yours. Not a problem. You know, I thought it was helping. I don't want to put you through all of this stress if this is what he's doing to you. I thought it was helping you. So anyway, my phone then just goes, I'm like, oh God, like I really can't cope with this. High anxiety, and then my phone is completely fine again. And then this guy stood on the mountain is making me feel really uneasy because he's actually trying to communicate and talk to me. and he's sitting on the mountain on the thing, and I get my boys off the park, and it's getting dark anyway. So anyway, my phone rings, and it's the person that I've exchanged the car with, and he's like, we're just heading down, we're outside yours. So I said, well, okay, and where are you? So literally, I'm trying to come around here and mess around, and they're going, oh, well, we're just coming around down the back and things like that. So anyway, I go and meet them around the back, and we come around the side here, and we come up my stairs, you know, my back entrance. Oh, hang on a minute. I'd bolted in first because of that text, and I'd brought the shopping in, dropped the shopping in, run back down the stairs, and then literally, no, and then, sorry, I was in the flat, and then they said they were coming, so we went out the stairs and then round. So anyway, we come up the stairs, so we've done one floor, coming up the second, which is just literally, and I hear somebody's coming down the side of the stairs around, and it sounds very heavy. And I look at him and say, point, like, I didn't know whether it were neighbours, what was going on. I just assumed that whatever, I didn't know. I've been trying not to let my brain run away with me. And then all of a sudden, I move quickly through the door. I push my kids through the door. He sort of stands back to the door, and all of a sudden, literally, we're floodgated. And one police officer went to go to, well, he didn't even do anything. He stood at the door at the top. One went to the thing, but they all hovered and pulled to me. And there was 6 police officers, and all of a sudden, they went to knock, like, the ones that were with me went to, I said, excuse me, like, he's on dialysis, like, yeah. So anyway, the way they were doing it, it was really weird. It was really weird. They went, were you anywhere near the park on the 18th of Friday, 18th of September? And I'm like, I was like, look, I've got a diagnosis of Asperger's. You'd have to remind me of what's going on. So I say to my friend, like, how long have we been dealing with Carl? When's the 18th? I haven't got a calendar in front of me. I'm trying to think. I know when. I don't know. I would know. And they were really quick. And all of a sudden, they just jumped in straight away. One of the other police officers had letters in his hand, and all he was asking me was, what was my name? What property? No, what? First of all, he wanted what property did I live at, and I was like, well, who are you actually wanting to speak to? And they were like, well, no, we're actually speaking to all of the neighbours. There's an incident in the area, and we're wanting to get information off everybody. So I was still a bit dubious. I said, I have to explain to you, I have complex trauma from an unlawful. I ended up with one of them coming around the back, one of them around the side. They were like, so one of them sort of came in to get my number, write my number down on this pad. I said, excuse me, but what are you actually writing my number down for? And why do you need my name? It's like, so they said, there was an incident on Doodah. Did you see anything? I said, look, I said, if there had been an incident that I have seen, I would have been one of the first people to report it. I'm sorry something has happened, but I haven't seen anything. And that's it. So then they proceeded to ask me more questions. So then they wanted to know what property I was at, what my address was, and then my name was. So I was like, well, I'm number 12. I was like, but what do you need it? So then I start getting really edgy. I also had a moment as they were all walking towards me where I looked at the girl that was with me, and I said, they're not coming to take my kids, are they? And she just looked at me, she said, no. And my friend took over, and he was like, I'll give my name, I'll answer any questions that you want, proceed them to me. He was like, are you a resident here? He said, no. So he didn't even ask him if he lived there, local or anything like that. He only asked him if he was a resident in this block. He didn't ask him if he lived local, because the irony is, based to this letter, the person that I was with would have seen, heard or anything in where they're saying this particular incident occurred. I, however, wouldn't have not done where I am. So he then asked me my name. So I say Kelly. Obviously, you can see it on the door. He said, yeah, no need your full name. I said, why do you need my name? He was like, well, we're just listing on who we've asked. I was like, well, why would you need to do that? What? So basically, you're taking your time out to gather all of this information on an incident, and you need all of the details of everybody here written down. Why? Why is this? So anyway, I'm trying to check my phone to try to like do it, and I've got no internet. And then when I open up my sorry my YouTube, I've got no live button. It's just completely gone. And so I came into the house. I just said to the people that were with me, I said, can you please watch the boys? So this was really big, quite big, and I felt this is really important. So I literally came in to make sure there was no, I could have signal. So there was nothing wrong with that. And then there was 100% no live. So I managed to quickly set up the video. And as you then saw, I literally swept on my hat and I came out and I was like, bump with the camera. And the reason that I did that is because he then started asking me who was in the property. I told him it was an untidy tenancy. He asked me who was here. Does anybody stay here? He wasn't asking whether anybody was here on the 18th that might have seen it. He was asking me now, currently, who is in the property, who is around. So then he asked me for my kids' names. That was it. I said, I am JR30, blah, 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 blah. He went, what's that? I said, my national insurance number, and it's all you're getting from now. I told you that I am, if I had seen anything, I would have reported it, blah, 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 blah. So that's why I decided to pull the live out, and that's what you then hear me saying about my children's name. Then you hear everything on the live. Now, the irony is because one of the police officers, the other ones then dispersed. Nobody knocked on anybody else's door. There was 2 police officers left there with me and my 2 friends. One of the police officers stepped back to the wall, went like that. I went, yes, my live is on, as you heard me say. As they did that, he turned his feet, he swung his foot around, left, as you hear on my live. Did not. I then say, please be sensitive, obviously, to Jamie, as you know, because he's choosing to go without dialysis. They didn't knock on my neighbour's door. They didn't say, sorry for wasting your time, we're now going. They didn't knock on any of the 2 preceding doors. And actually, here's the irony, there's another floor below me. Now, I came in, I cried. I don't even really know, I don't know these 2 people that were with me. I freaking hugged both of them and cried when they left, shaking. I came in here, I was trying to discuss everything. They were trying to talk to me. I'm having to explain to them what I've been going through, and thank you for being here at that particular time. I don't know how I would have coped with it if I'd been on my own, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, the boys mentioned there's a noise. So I go back out thinking, oh, well, maybe they're letting me come in and they're still going door to door. And it was one of my neighbours coming in, the new neighbours for the Roberts Centre. I said, was a police wagon out there? They said no. So they hadn't gone to the rest of the neighbours. They'd just dispersed and left. Here's the questions they're asking. I took it off him. He said, yeah, you can have them. So they wanted the address, time visit, person spoke to. Hampshire Constabulary are investigating a serious incident that occurred on Friday the 18th of September 2020 between 15 hours and 8 hours around the area of Warwick Crescent and Neighbourhood Park. Witnesses are sought to determine the identity of any adults and children who were present in the play area who may be able to assist. Now, if somebody has, I said what I've said. If I'd reported it, I'd have seen it. I haven't seen anything. Now, the irony is I've gone back through my lives. The 17th is the day that I went to see the property. The 18th, I'm sure, but I can't on my phone and my laptop's down. I can't go any further than, I think, the 15th on my YouTubes to see whether or not I'm wrong about these dates. But I wouldn't have been discussing moving my car with this move and stuff. If I'm sure it was after. I'm not 100% sure, so I can't say. But the weird thing is on the 18th, there's no lives on my thing. So I can't even go onto my lives or any of my posts and check where was I at that time, what did I see, did I catch anything, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, they didn't seem to be any interest in something that happened. Here's the questions that they were asking. Who currently resides in this address? So not, was there anybody here on the 18th that might have seen it? So like, did your mum pop round for a coffee and might have walked off to the shop by any chance? Who else was at the address on Friday the 18th on the 2020? Now the irony is the 17th is the live that I did about them now putting in the things. Were you or anyone in the house in the park in front of Tipton House? So they're asking questions. Yes, great. If you were in the park, did anything occur while you were there that may have caused you concern? Are you aware of any tension in the community? If so, what? Do you own any CTV, including doorbell CTV or vehicle CTV, or aware of any operating public or private CTV in the area? That's what sort of got me a little bit concerned. I thought, okay, yes. Like, they could have asked me, like, do you have a car parked anywhere? Have you got any CTV in it that might have picked anything up? I would have been able to turn around and said, well, actually, my car was parked there, blah, 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 blah. The irony is the people that were with me, literally, my car is right outside where all this has been going on. So I then go on and Google to see if there is a public appeal for anything. And I can't get onto my crack book at the moment to see whether or not local have got some things, but I've been on all the police ones. Now it did come up, but I think it was just keywords for Google. So I then went on it, nothing. So I thought, oh, maybe there'd been a rape or something. So then I actually messaged my now friends who I've now trusted and said, oh, hang on a minute, I think I found something about a rape. Should I mention something about the guy that was at the thing because of that? So then I open it and there's nothing there. So there's nothing. So there's no public appeal from what I see so far, but I haven't continued to do that research. So I need to know whether or not anybody knows, was there genuinely an incident that occurred? If anybody wants to tell me what's going on, so the community's at ease, then please do. That would be great. But my concern right now is that was an information gathering of how many people are at property, whether or not there was any gatherings tonight, whether or not there was anybody making sure that they know who lives here, who's what's going on with, if anyone's got any sleeper chauffeurs. I don't think I'm paranoid. So the question that I'm asking is, did anybody in any other city have the similar searches tonight? And if these similar things start happening in anybody else's area, like even here in Portsmouth, did all of the tower blocks get this? And that's why there's no public appeal? Or did nobody else get this and I am just dealing with my trauma, talking it out, speaking, and can just feel relaxed tomorrow? Or is this the preparation for a new lockdown?